Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today let's dive into the world of the Barbie movie, a film that has left everyone astonished. It has sold twice as much as Oppenheimer, broken the pre-sale ticket record in cinemas, and even outshined Batman's Dark Knight by Nolan. It's predicted that its sales will surpass the billion-dollar mark. You must have seen the massive wave of advertisements online. From luxurious red carpets to larger-than-life 3D advertisements in Dubai. Today we'll take a closer look at why the opening scene of the Barbie movie resembles Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. What was the director trying to convey in this scene? What was Barbie's original message, and what does it represent today? Towards the end of the video, we'll also delve into the behind-the-scenes details before we move forward. I want to clarify that I haven't watched the movie itself, so there won't be any spoilers. Now, let's venture into the world of Barbie. It's fascinating to understand that the entirety of Barbie's intended message is succinctly summarized in the opening scene of the new Barbie movie. You might have noticed that the first minute of Barbie bears a striking resemblance to the 2001 film, 2001: A Space Odyssey. In this film, we witness a sequence involving a group of monkeys symbolizing the earliest form of humans. They are inept, inactive, unable to perform tasks, and generally weak. However, for the first time in their history, they learn how to utilize tools. The first thing they did with it was to use it to kill each other. And its first application was in warfare. An important moment is captured when one of the monkeys throws a bone into the air. The camera zooms in, and the bone transforms into a spinning spacecraft. Now, I won't spoil 2001: A Space Odyssey for you, but those who have seen the film are aware of the single artificial intelligence aboard that spaceship, a representation of the most advanced tool humans have ever created, more intelligent than humans themselves, and ultimately perceived as a threat. In this scene, the most rudimentary and initial tool in the air transforms into the most advanced and final tool that humans have created. Similarly, Greta Gerwig, the director of the Barbie film, uses a similar scene. It portrays children sitting and playing with dolls. Notice that the dolls are all designed to resemble infants, symbolizing young children. Suddenly, Barbie appears, wearing the same outfit that Margot Robbie wears in the movie, a swimsuit. This marks the debut appearance of Barbie in the market. This black and white swimsuit signifies Barbie's initial introduction, capturing the attention of children who are meeting Barbie for the first time. We observe the young children smashing their old dolls, which symbolize small children. Then they toss the doll into the air, and it transforms into Barbie's logo against the sky. This scene holds a profound message. Barbie's history is effectively encapsulated within this very opening sequence. You might not know, Barbie was brought to life back in 1959 by Ruth Handler. That's over 60 years of Barbie's existence. She was conceived because Ruth Handler recognized a significant gap in the market. And let's not forget, Ruth Handler, Barbie's creator, was a woman with feminist ideals. Before the 60s, there were limited job opportunities for women. They were confined to roles like nursing and teaching. This was the time when Ruth Handler saw that children had the right to play with only baby dolls, aimed at preparing them for motherhood. Just like in the new Barbie film's opening scene crafted by Greta Gerwig, Ruth Handler recognized the need to challenge this narrative. She designed a new type of doll that was not just a representation of babies. It was a paper model that seamstresses used to design clothing, portraying adult women. Ruth Handler saw that girls wanted to imagine themselves as grown women, not just playing with baby dolls. What's fascinating is that Ruth Handler infused her creation with her feminist beliefs. She decided to disrupt the conventional path. She found a particular doll in Germany after World War II, one that wasn't meant for children. This doll, intriguingly, laid the foundation for Barbie's inception. This particular doll had an unconventional history, and it inspired Ruth Handler to create Barbie, but not as you might think. This doll was originally a comic book character, published in a popular magazine in post-war Germany each week. News stories featuring this female character were published, with her being a secretary during the day and an adventuress by night. This character lived an exciting life and was quite seductive. The stories were not intended for women at the time. From this comic book character, Ruth Handler created a single doll. It wasn't your typical toy for children, it was more for placement in bars and clubs. Venues frequented by men. Ruth Handler's daughters were the first to play with this doll. She noticed that her own daughter loved playing with it. This observation led Ruth Handler to create Barbie as a reflection of adult women and to challenge the societal norms of the time. Ruth even changed her daughter's name, Barbara, and placed it on the doll, which marked the birth of Barbie. This story doesn't end here. Ruth Handler also had a son named Ken. She designed a male counterpart for Barbie, which she named after her son, Ken. This fascinating blend of real-world experiences and creative inspiration brought Barbie to life in a unique way. Now, when we see the scene in Greta Gerwig's Barbie film that pays homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey, it takes on a whole new meaning. It mirrors the era where girls were only expected to become mothers and had limited roles, but now, for the first time, they could envision themselves as empowered adult women in a new light. The girls shattered their traditional baby dolls and transformed the image that once represented old-school thinking into the emblem of Barbie. Barbie's significance mirrors the revolutionary ideas she was meant to convey to young minds. But let's dive into the day Barbie was born and uncover the message she held for children. Remember, Barbie isn't just a doll. She's a lifestyle, a philosophy. And both her creator and the director of the Barbie film understand this. If you look closely at the trailer images, you'll notice that Barbie can walk on water, intentionally shown by the director. Also, if you pay attention to the beach scene, Barbie's footprints don't remain on the sand. These symbols are reminiscent of the cultural representation of Christ in the West, and indeed, Barbie embodies her own beliefs. Barbie's beliefs were clear from the beginning. In the early days of advertising, she advocated for women's rights to be equal to men's. She portrayed that women could have any job they desired, could live freely, and no one could dictate what they should do. Of course, there were other messages too. For instance, during Barbie's initial introduction to the market, children held Western dolls in their hands. Barbie was considering gender roles. She focused on being a woman, being attractive to other men. This theme ignited numerous debates during the 70s and 80s. These controversies and complaints often forced the company to backtrack on its designs. Some court decisions ruled against them, leading to modifications. Despite these challenges, the business concept behind Barbie was remarkably intelligent. The doll manufacturer didn't just sell dolls. They marketed a lifestyle. Children were no longer just buying a doll. They were investing in a whole lifestyle. They would buy all sorts of outfits, accessories, and additional items for their dolls. If you're wondering about the cultural context in which Barbie entered the market and the deep impact it made on culture, just understand that in the early 70s, the doll manufacturer finally found the courage to introduce Barbie to the market with a direct gaze. Until that time, all dolls had to maintain a submissive gaze, looking downward. But with the influences that this doll brought, a change was initiated. Barbie could now look directly ahead. In the 1980s and 1990s, the doll aimed to redefine the meaning of being a woman. We can witness the peak of Barbie's impact during the 1990s, where she reached the zenith of her influence. Back then, girls took beauty cues from Barbie. If you notice, around the year 2000, Charlize Theron sported a short hairstyle, and she mentioned in interviews that she drew inspiration from Barbie for that hairstyle. When she was a child, she always wished to have short hair when she grew up. By that time, Americans were facing a generation that had grown up entirely with Barbie. They themselves had become role models for the next generation. By the 1990s, Barbie had truly reached her pinnacle. Barbie broke racial barriers, introduced a black-skinned doll, and even portrayed Barbie as a president. She had 180 different careers, could do gymnastics, and hold leadership positions. The likes of top designers like Gucci designed outfits for Barbie. It's estimated that over 1 billion Barbie dolls have been sold to date. The company that produces this doll has evolved into the world's largest toy retailer. If you pay attention in the trailer images, you can even see the toy company's logo as Margot Robbie escapes at the peak of her power. Barbie was selling 3 dolls per second worldwide, and the company's annual profit was around $1 billion. But there were also negative cultural influences tied to Barbie. Over time, it led to the emergence of new feminists who criticized Barbie herself. For instance, there were criticisms that all Barbies looked alike, were too glamorous, were white, and always beautiful. Why did they need to change themselves so much for other people? Now, let's consider how Barbie's significant presence impacted culture. For instance, Barbie read books that suggested how to lose weight. All these factors had negative effects on culture over time. For example, extreme examples of this were instances where some individuals would actually undergo surgery to make themselves look like Barbie. You've probably seen online those who have spent tens of thousands of dollars and undergone multiple surgeries to resemble Barbie. These criticisms led to a cultural decline for Barbie. In the early 21st century, it couldn't carry the same intellectual banner it once had as a leader of thought. Nevertheless, throughout her 60-year life, Barbie always had a crucial feature. She kept reinventing herself. Each decade, Barbie differed from the previous one. She was capable of swiftly adapting culturally. Now, in the 21st century, Barbie has returned, updating her feminist ideals. A symbolic representation of her changing beliefs is seen in the trailer. Barbie is portrayed no longer wearing high heels, her feet are flat, and she aims to step out of the Barbie world, which is not real. Her path to entering the real world is by putting on sneakers. Interestingly, earlier Barbie dolls were made in a way to match high heels. However, in the recent film, they have returned to a single doll whose movie cost around $140 million. With a marketing budget of $100 million, the film intends to emphasize new feminist ideas and deliver a clear message.
You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
It seeks to focus on women's independence and their ability to achieve great things without needing men. This narrative trend has been evident in Hollywood in recent years. Extreme examples of this can be seen in films like Mulan, where feminist themes were taken to an excessive level. The character of Mulan was portrayed in such a way that all male characters were entirely removed. Mulan's story reached a point where she didn't fall in love with anyone and had no need for anyone's support. Similarly, in the film Black Widow, all positive roles were filled by female characters, while negative roles were assigned to males. Some male characters were portrayed as fools. However, if we examine the films with extreme feminist undertones, they have received unfavorable reviews both in terms of ratings and from critics. In contrast, considering the positive ratings that Barbie has consistently received, it doesn't seem that she has promoted extremist feminist ideas. Rather, she appears to have effectively conveyed her message within a more balanced framework. What we know is that in the Barbie movie, the main character, played by Margot Robbie, undergoes an existential crisis and embarks on a journey of self-discovery. Similar to the Wizard of Oz, this is symbolically represented in the trailer, as Margot Robbie's character moves through the city of Barbies. The poster of the film can be seen posted on the walls. It is likely that at the end of the Barbie movie, the protagonist reaches an ethical conclusion that serves as the message of the story. To craft this message, the filmmakers brought in Greta Gerwig, a director known for her deep feminist ideologies. This can be deduced from her previous works, like the film Lady Bird. In this film as well, it seems that she has skillfully delivered her message. Beyond managing the substantial budget effectively, the quality of the movie has been noteworthy. This level of proficiency has even led her to be chosen for the reconstruction of the film Narnia, a project of epic proportions akin to The Lord of the Rings, returning to Barbie's movie. It's apparent that this film has the potential to measure up to the standards set by Narnia. Behind the scenes of the Barbie movie, a series of significant efforts have been undertaken. One such endeavor involved creating the initial location scene at the beginning of the film. It might be hard to believe, but the entire area you witness has been constructed for the film. The entire cinematic town was built, and the expenses for constructing this town alone reached $30 million. It's interesting to know that the director of the Barbie movie even chose an assistant who had worked on the set design of The Truman Show, a massive studio constructed for Jim Carrey. Moreover, all the lighting effects in the Barbie movie are entirely artificial. This means that until Barbie reaches Los Angeles, the audience sees entirely manufactured light. After building this initial town set, they created a small-scale model and subsequently enlarged it to its full size. What's intriguing is that all of this was crafted by hand, and everything, including the flags and even the water, is made of plastic. It's fascinating to note that the surroundings of the Barbie town have been hand-painted with intricate detail, eschewing the use of green screens. The exterior view from Barbie's room spans a length of 80 meters, all of which has been meticulously painted by hand. It's interesting to note that the individuals involved in the making of the Barbie movie collectively hold 50 Oscar nominations throughout their professional careers. It's predicted that the Barbie movie will be nominated for Oscars in 8 different categories. Everything you see throughout the film is inspired by Barbie's history. All the actors were selected based on real Barbie models. All the professions depicted in the film, such as astronauts and sailors, actually had their own Barbie counterparts in the past. Apart from the film's message or the extent of effort put into it, the competition between the Barbie and Oppenheimer films reflects a signal to cinema makers. Films that offer fresh perspectives tend to capture more of the audience's attention compared to those with repetitive stories. This repeated failure of blockbuster superhero films at the box office demonstrates that all cinemagoers are seeking innovation in movies. Perhaps this competition between Barbie and Oppenheimer will herald a new era in cinema. Well, my friends, that's it for today's video. I hope it has been informative for you. Take a deeper look at the Barbie movie, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Take care.